Drama is boiling over on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, and this time Carlos King isn't pulling any punches. In a jaw-dropping scene, he directly calls out LaTisha Scott, forcing her to confront conflicts, accusations, and lingering questions she's managed to sidestep for far too long. But could this clash actually mark the beginning of the end for LaTisha on LAMH? And is Carlos pushing her toward a breaking point fans never expected to see? Stick around, because what just unfolded might completely alter the direction of the entire series. Love and Marriage, Huntsville has always thrived on relationships, business, and of course controversy. From fiery arguments to fractured alliances, every season delivers unforgettable moments that fuel endless conversations, but this time something feels different. The reason? Carlos King himself, the mastermind behind the show, has stepped into the spotlight to confront one of the most talked about figures in the cast, LaTisha Scott. For years, LaTisha has held a central role on LAMH. She's endured public scrutiny over her marriage, nonstop gossip surrounding her relationship with Marsau, and accusations from fellow cast members that she constantly dodges accountability. But now, Carlos is demanding answers, putting her in the hot seat and pressing on the truths LaTisha has carefully avoided for so long. And here's where things get even more intriguing. Fans are already speculating. Is LaTisha being pushed out of the series? Could this moment be the breaking point in her relationship with Carlos and the rest of the cast? Or maybe, just maybe, this confrontation is exactly what she needs to regain control and reclaim her power on the show. In today's deep dive, we're breaking down everything that went down in this explosive face-off, why Carlos King felt compelled to intervene, the history of LaTisha's ongoing drama on the show, and whether this moment signals the start of her downfall on Love and Marriage, Huntsville. So grab your popcorn, because the drama you're about to hear might just be the wildest twist yet in the LAMH franchise. And trust me, you will not believe what's coming next. To really understand why Carlos's confrontation with LaTisha carries so much weight, we need to rewind and revisit her journey on Love and Marriage, Huntsville. When the show first premiered, LaTisha Scott struck many viewers as incredibly relatable. She was a wife juggling marriage, motherhood, and business while shouldering the pressures of being in the reality TV spotlight. For plenty of fans, she was someone they could see themselves in, a woman determined to hold everything together despite constant judgment, all while standing beside her husband, Marsau. LaTisha quickly became a major figure. Her marriage was painted as one of the strongest on the show, and she often positioned herself as a woman who prioritized family above all else. But as the seasons progressed, cracks began to appear both in her relationships with the other cast members and in how fans perceived her. One of the earliest sources of drama came from ongoing rumors about Marsau's alleged infidelity. Castmates and even social media fans frequently speculated about whether he had been unfaithful, and whether LaTisha was intentionally turning a blind eye. Again and again, LaTisha defended her marriage, standing firmly by Marsau's side, and shutting down every accusation. For her supporters, this was a sign of loyalty. For her critics, it was pure denial. But the controversies didn't end there. LaTisha's friendships, or lack thereof, with fellow cast members also became a major source of friction. From Melody Holt to Kimmy Scott, she often found herself entangled in conflicts that stretched across entire seasons. Her tendency to deflect, blame, or dodge direct accountability only intensified fan debates about whether she was truly protecting herself or deliberately stirring up drama. By the time the more recent seasons arrived, the narrative surrounding LaTisha had completely shifted. What began as admiration for her resilience eventually shifted into doubts. Was she hiding behind Marsau, dodging the real problems, or simply refusing to take responsibility for her part in the chaos? And that's exactly where Carlos King steps in. As the show's creator and executive producer, Carlos usually stays out of the mess directly. He's the mastermind behind the scenes, not the one in the spotlight. But when he does decide to speak up, fans immediately know it means something serious is at stake. So when Carlos confronted LaTisha, this wasn't just another spat on LAMH, it became a defining moment. A moment that pulled years of unresolved tension into the open and forced LaTisha to face the very accusations she's been dodging for so long. And here's where the intensity really ramps up. This confrontation wasn't only about LaTisha's personal conflicts, it was about her future on the show itself. Carlos King has earned his place as one of the sharpest minds in reality TV, often dubbed the king of reality television. He's produced hit shows across multiple platforms, but Love and Marriage, Huntsville is one of his crown jewels. Audiences trust Carlos to deliver authentic stories, jaw-dropping drama, and moments that keep viewers glued to the screen. But what happens when the drama keeps looping back, when accountability is nowhere to be found, or when one cast member repeatedly sidesteps the tough questions? That's when Carlos steps in personally. For years, fans have been frustrated with LaTisha's unwillingness to fully confront the controversies surrounding her. Whether it was the endless rumors of Marsau's alleged cheating, her repeated feuds with Melody Holt, or her tendency to deflect blame during heated disputes, LaTisha built a reputation for dodging the most difficult conversations. Some viewers even claimed she was hiding behind Marsau, letting him handle the tough moments while she avoided being completely open about her own feelings. But Carlos has never been one to run from the truth. In a recent episode during a reunion-style sit-down, Carlos put LaTisha directly in the hot seat, rather than allowing her to dance around the questions, something she's become skilled at. On camera, Carlos pushed harder. He wanted real answers. He demanded clear responses. And above all, he pressed LaTisha to finally accept accountability for her role in the never-ending drama. Fans were stunned, because Carlos rarely steps into the spotlight this way. Normally, he acts as a neutral moderator guiding the discussion, while letting the cast hash things out on their own. But with LaTisha, he tore that wall down. It felt as though Carlos was channeling the exact frustrations viewers at home had been voicing for seasons. Why does LaTisha keep dodging the truth? Why is she so quick to shift the blame? And how long can this pattern continue before it damages the credibility of the entire show? Carlos framed his questions with precision, firm yet direct, leaving no room for vague answers. He challenged her to acknowledge her choices, confront the issues that have haunted her storyline, and stop avoiding the conversations that matter most. In that moment, the power balance flipped. LaTisha wasn't just sparring with another cast member. She was standing before the man who holds the keys to the show's future, and that's when fans began buzzing with speculation. Was Carlos sending LaTisha a clear warning? Was this his way of hinting that her time on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, could be nearing its end if she failed to show real transparency and authenticity? Reality TV feeds on drama, yes, but it also depends on truth. Carlos understands that when cast members hold back, the whole show takes a hit. This confrontation wasn't about a single argument or one isolated issue. It was about credibility. If LaTisha couldn't face the drama head-on, Carlos had to make it clear that the audience deserved better. And fans noticed. Social media lit up with reactions, many praising Carlos for holding LaTisha accountable in a way no one else had managed before. But here's the part that really raised eyebrows. The tone of Carlos's questioning hinted at more than simple frustration. Some viewers read it as a test, a way of seeing if LaTisha could step up and rise to the challenge, or if she was drifting closer to being phased out of the show. Because at the end of the day, every reality series evolves, and when a cast member isn't bringing their full truth, producers don't hesitate to make the tough calls. That leads to the bigger question. Is Carlos King preparing viewers for a future without LaTisha on LAMH? Or is this confrontation his way of pushing her to finally grow, to face the rumors and conflicts that have defined her storyline for years? When Carlos put the spotlight directly on LaTisha Scott, the tension was impossible to miss. For years, fans had wanted her to be held accountable in a way she couldn't sidestep. This was that moment. So how did LaTisha respond when Carlos, the very man responsible for the success of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, challenged her directly? At first, she reacted exactly as many expected, by going on defense. She started by reminding everyone of her loyalty to Marsau, the effort she's put into balancing family and business, and the strength she's shown in standing firm against rumors. To her, the ongoing accusations weren't just criticisms. They felt like attacks on her character and her marriage. LaTisha has long maintained that her relationship is nobody's business but her own, and she wasn't about to let Carlos or anyone else imply otherwise. But Carlos wasn't questioning her loyalty. He was questioning the pattern. Season After season, LaTisha has been portrayed as someone who avoids the hardest conversations, refuses to acknowledge uncomfortable truths, and shifts blame when things get heated. Carlos pressed her, not angrily, but with sharp precision. He wanted answers. The audience wanted answers. And LaTisha knew she couldn't keep recycling the same narrative without consequences. Her body language gave her away. At times, she looked noticeably uncomfortable, almost as if she realized this exchange was pulling back a side of her she usually manages to control on camera. Still, she doubled down. She argued that other cast members, especially Melody Holt, were the ones fueling the drama, and that she was only ever responding to attacks. In LaTisha's eyes, she wasn't the problem, she was the target. And this is where the shift came. Carlos refused to let her pivot. He cut through her deflections with pointed follow-ups. Fans at home noticed something rare, LaTisha being boxed into a corner where she had to either own her role in the drama or risk appearing evasive in front of the entire audience. And for someone who values her image as much as LaTisha does, this was unfamiliar territory. So, did LaTisha finally admit to the truth? Not quite. While she acknowledged having her share of conflicts and admitted she doesn't always handle situations perfectly, she stopped short of fully accepting fault. Instead, she leaned on her usual defense, that her loyalty to her marriage and her refusal to feed into rumors deserved respect. For some fans, this came across as strength. For others, it looked like avoidance, the very behavior Carlos was calling out. The reaction was immediate. Social media buzzed with divided takes. Some praised LaTisha for standing her ground and refusing to let anyone tear down her marriage, seeing her as a woman putting family above all else. Others, though, saw it as proof she was still unwilling or maybe even incapable of taking real accountability. Memes and clips spread online, branding her the queen of deflection and joking that Carlos had finally voiced what fans had been thinking all along. But this is where things start getting even more interesting. The confrontation didn't just highlight LaTisha's resistance to accountability, it also opened up bigger questions about her future on the show. If she keeps dodging and defending instead of engaging authentically, can she truly remain a central figure on Love and Marriage, Huntsville? Or will Carlos and ultimately the network decide it's time to bring in fresh faces and new storylines? For now, LaTisha is still standing firm, but her exchange with Carlos revealed cracks in her armor that both fans and producers won't easily forget. And as the season pushes forward, the spotlight on LaTisha is only going to intensify. Because if she couldn't give Carlos King direct answers, how will she survive the ongoing battles with her castmates? When Carlos King confronted LaTisha Scott, it wasn't just some reality TV gotcha moment. It was more like holding up a mirror to her role on Love and Marriage, Huntsville. For seasons, LaTisha has been positioned as one of the show's key figures, the loyal wife, the businesswoman, the woman balancing it all. But the truth is, reality TV thrives on change. Characters can't stay in the same positions season after season without fans eventually growing restless. And Carlos knows that better than anyone. So the real question becomes, has LaTisha reached a turning point where she either needs to evolve her role on the show or risk becoming replaceable? Let's break down the dynamics. Every reality show has its anchors, the ones who bring stability and continuity, and its catalysts, the ones who stir the pot and drive storylines forward. LaTisha has spent much of her run straddling those two lanes. She has moments of stability, showcasing her devotion to Marsau and her family. But she's also been pulled again and again into conflicts, often unwillingly. The issue is that fans have started spotting a pattern. LaTisha tends to dodge real accountability, shift the blame onto others for fueling drama, and then disengage when she's confronted directly. For Carlos King, who's earned his reputation as the king of reality TV, that's a major red flag. Family loyalty and strong values make for powerful themes. But without growth, vulnerability, or some sort of resolution, they don't always translate into compelling television. If LaTisha continues hitting the same notes, defending her marriage, shutting down conversations about infidelity rumors, and pointing fingers at Melody or others, audiences may begin to tune her out. And in reality TV, being forgettable is far riskier than being controversial. Now, here's where it gets even more critical. Social media has become the lifeblood of shows like LAMH, Viewer reactions online directly shape how the network views a cast member's value. When LaTisha's confrontation with Carlos aired, the internet exploded. Some viewers praised her for holding her ground, but a growing wave of voices accused her of stonewalling and dragging down the storylines by refusing to engage authentically. If that perception continues to build, OW and the network behind the show might start questioning whether LaTisha's presence is helping or harming the series. And there's another factor at play: money and ratings. Reality stars don't just get paid for showing up, they're paid to deliver. Storylines, viral moments, and trending clips are what keep the audience locked in. And while LaTisha has given fans plenty of memorable clashes in the past, the more she resists accountability, the more her conflicts risk feeling repetitive. In other words, if she doesn't evolve, her storyline could go stale. This is exactly why Carlos's confrontation wasn't just personal, it was professional. He was essentially delivering a message to LaTisha: adapt, engage, and get real, or risk fading into the background. For Carlos, every cast member is expected to bring something new to the table each season, and if LaTisha can't, someone else will. And let's not forget the whispers already circulating. Could LaTisha actually be on the chopping block? Fans online have speculated that her spot on LAMH may not be as secure moving forward. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the history of reality TV makes one thing clear: no cast member is ever truly untouchable. Just look at other shows in the genre. Even longtime stars have been cut when their storylines lost momentum or their conflicts ran out of steam. So is LaTisha at risk of being phased out? At the moment, she still holds a significant place on the show. But the confrontation with Carlos has put her in the hot seat like never before. It's a test, and how she responds in the coming episodes could determine whether she remains a central figure or slowly fades into irrelevance. But here's the twist fans might not be ready for. What if LaTisha isn't just fighting to preserve her storyline, but also her marriage at the same time? With the pressure from Carlos, the cast, and the audience piling up, the cracks in her relationship with Marsau could become harder and harder to hide. And if that happens, LaTisha might be pushed into an entirely new role on the show, one she never expected to play. If there's one thing love and marriage Huntsville fans have learned over the years, it's this: LaTisha Scott's story can't be separated from her husband Marsau. The two are a package deal, business partners, reality TV co-stars, and one of the most polarizing couples in the franchise. But when it comes to drama, Marsau's role is much more complicated than it appears at first glance. On paper, Marsau is the strong, outspoken husband, always quick to defend LaTisha against criticism. Whenever rumors about his alleged infidelity surface, LaTisha doubles down on her trust in him, while Marsau paints himself as the victim of gossip and haters. But here's the irony: it's often Marsau's own actions, comments, and even his silence that spark the very fires LaTisha ends up trying to put out. Let's break this down. First, Marsau has built a reputation for being witty, sarcastic, and at times dismissive. While those traits can make for entertaining television, they also breed tension. When other women on the show, especially Melody or Kimmy, confront LaTisha about rumors or accountability, Marsau often inserts himself into the conversation. Instead of de-escalating, he tends to lean on humor or condescension, which only intensifies the conflict and leaves LaTisha caught in the middle. Second, let's address the elephant in the room: the cheating allegations. For multiple seasons, Marsau has been tied to speculation about infidelity. Even though no solid proof has ever surfaced, the rumors have refused to disappear. And here's where things get even messier. Even when Marsau avoids responding directly, his refusal to provide clarity keeps LaTisha in the hot seat. She's left defending him on camera, assuring viewers of her trust, and going toe-to-toe with castmates who argue otherwise. In other words, Marsau gets to maintain his calm, while LaTisha shoulders the full weight of the drama. Fans have picked up on this dynamic as well. Many viewers on social media have pointed out that Marsau seems to actually thrive in the chaos, even laughing off situations that leave LaTisha in tears. Some argue that Marsau, whether intentional or not, uses LaTisha as a shield, allowing her to shoulder the responsibility of defending their marriage while he sidesteps, giving clear answers. While that tactic may work for him in the short term, it carries long-term consequences for LaTisha's image on the show. Third, Marsau's role as a business partner complicates things even further. The Scotts often showcase their ventures, from real estate to construction, as part of their storyline. But business and marriage don't always blend seamlessly. Viewers have witnessed moments where financial stress or disagreements over priorities spill into their relationship, creating new cracks for both the cast and the audience to dissect. Each business conflict turns into potential storyline material, and more often than not, LaTisha is portrayed as the one stuck in the middle. So is Marsau truly the supportive husband he presents himself to be? Or is he, in his own way, the instigator, keeping LaTisha tied to ongoing drama? Some fans argue that without Marsau's controversies, LaTisha's storyline wouldn't even exist in the same way. Think about it: the cheating allegations, the sarcastic comments, the questionable business moves. Those are exactly the elements that keep the Scotts relevant on LAMH, but at what price? Because while those plotlines ensure the spotlight remains on them, they also cast LaTisha as someone perpetually on the defensive, unable to step out from under her husband's shadow. And this is where things get even trickier. During Carlos King's confrontation, there was a strong sense that LaTisha's identity on the show is tied entirely to Marsau. Rarely does she get the chance to stand on her own without his presence hanging over her narrative. Carlos seemed to be pushing her to step into the spotlight independently, maybe because he sees the danger of LaTisha being reduced to nothing more than Marsau's wife. But let's be honest, if Marsau's behavior doesn't shift, LaTisha might always find herself stuck in that defensive role. And while that guarantees a steady stream of drama, it also risks wearing down the audience. Fans don't want to see the same argument rehashed season after season with no resolution. They want progress, accountability, or at least a fresh layer added to the conflict. If Marsau keeps repeating the same antics, LaTisha may be the one who ultimately suffers, losing not just her credibility and her image, but possibly even her spot on the show.